What's up, everybody? Now that we've got the passenger side floor pan all welded in and epoxy so it won't rust, it's time to get onto the driver's side. So as you can see, I've got the car turned around in the shop because I only have so much room in here. So we'll get started on cutting out the driver's side first. Now, the passenger side was a little bit easier because there was nothing in the way. But on the driver's side, I don't know if you can see this, let's see if I can show you. You've got fuel lines in the way, and those need to be moved before I can get to cutting. So the first step in this process is going to be go ahead and get those fuel lines out of the way. Now, on this car, there's no gas in the tank. There's not even a tank. So I don't have to worry about causing a fire or anything like that. But the fuel line's good, so I don't want to mess it up if I don't have to. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way first. As I did on the first one, I'm going to use my Blair spot weld cutter to cut out the factory spot welds. Now, this is by far the best spot weld cutter I've ever used. So rather than using one of those cheap little, looks like a hole saw, this thing looks like it's got a machining bit on the end, and it cuts smooth, it's fast, and it's really economical. So I'll put a link to the spot weld cutter in the description, so make sure you check it out. This is by far the best spot weld cutter you can find. Alright, we have the driver floor pan cut out. As you can see, it is just roughly cut right now. There is a lot of stuff that is fallen down in this frame rail. Some of this is just from me cutting, the original pan out, but some of it was done in there beforehand. You can see there's a nail here. Let's see, yeah, there's a nail and some screws and things like that that have fallen into the frame rail over time. So the first order of business is to get this vacuumed out and cleaned up. Maybe hard to tell, but all along through here it is dented up from the bottom, probably from someone using a jack on the frame rail. So we'll get that hammered back out flat and put some weld through primer on there, and then get to finishing up the finish cut on the floor pan and start welding it in. Alright, getting ready to hammer out the dents in the frame rail. So I've got a jack here with, this is a hydraulic press plate. So I'm going to set that on top and line it up on the bottom because I don't have a dolly that I can really use to do this with. So we'll see if this works. I'm using Duplicolor's DPP108 Weld Through Cold Galvanized Primer here. I've never used this product before, and the reviews on Amazon are mixed. Some say it's fantastic, while others say it's merely average. But it's only $10.99, and for the price I'm certainly willing to give it a shot. I'll put a link in the description where you can buy it, and let me know in the comments what you think. Cleco clamps are perfect for this application. You simply drill an 1/8" hole in the panel, and using the Cleco pliers, pass the clamp through the piece of metal you wish to hold. It's a fast and easy way to temporarily join two panels together. Alright, it's all trimmed out, got it fitting perfect. So the key here is just take your time and make sure that you don't cut too much, just take it slow. What you don't see is I had this floor pan in and out about a dozen times in order to make sure it fits really tight. Just taking off just a tiny bit at a time, and it's perfect. So, I don't know if you can tell, there is almost zero gap the entire way there. And the key, I really think, if you have the wherewithal, is an air saw. It's a fantastic tool. I just bought one, but I don't know if you can see the blade is really narrow, and it creates just the perfect gap in between two panels. So if you have the capability of using an air saw, I highly recommend doing it, because it'll just make the gap perfect, so you can just tack it right in without any issues. So after spending a lot of time in the interior, I began to notice that the factory seam sealer was kind of coming apart after 50 years, and I just really wasn't happy. So I went ahead and took some time and pulled out all the factory seam sealer in the entire interior. And I'm kind of glad I did, because there were some spots that on the outside looked okay, but once I got the seam sealer up, they looked like they could be a potential problem in the future. Not that it would be an issue right now, but my name is on this, so I want to make sure it's right. So I'm going to wire brush the entire interior and get all of the loose stuff up, epoxy prime it, and then put new seam sealer in the whole interior. So we'll get to that next. Alright, got the floors all epoxy primed now. So the next step is wait for this to dry, and I will go ahead and put some seam sealer back in everything, and then the floors will be completely done. And I get to move on to the next project, which I think is going to be the quarter panels and the rear of the car. So I already got this panel. So you can see this one's dented in here. So the first step is going to be replace this piece with a new one, and then I'm going to pick up quarters next week. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.